What you're about to hear is a selected recitation of James Joyce's 1939 work, Finnegans Wake. The goal of this recitation is to prefer to the audience a condensed and inviting version of Joyce's infamously convoluted and challenging text. Key to the arrangement of this selection is the observation that Finnegans Wake invites, welcomes, and embraces the text's capacity for what Derrida has called citational grafting. Citational grafting is the capacity for any part of any text to be removed from its quote-unquote constraining context and place it in quotation marks somewhere else. Derrida explains that citational grafting speaks to the text's fundamental excess and tendency to proliferate beyond any one domain, reader, or interpretation. It is my goal in delivering this recitation to relieve words from their constraining context and potentially yield aha moments of insight for the listener. I accept the fragmentary nature of all texts and here submit Finnegans Wake to the reader and listener for experience, interpretation, and experimentation. With the help of this curated selection of the entirety of James Joyce's masterpiece, I hope to expose this text in all its rich, pleasureful, excessive, and ambiguous allure, allowing readers of all levels to learn to appreciate the unique pleasure of Joyce's text. River run past Eve and Adams, from swerve of shore to bend of bay, brings us by a commodious ficus of recirculation, back to Howth Castle and environs. Sir Tristram, via Lord Amores, for over the short sea, had Passancourt re-arrived from North Armorica, on this side the scraggy isthmus of Europe Minor, to wield or fight his peninsula at war. Nor had topsailers rocks by the stream O'Connie exaggerated themselves to Lawrence County's gorgeous, while they went doubling their mumper all the time. Nor a voice from afire bellowed, Misha, Misha, to Dove, Dove, Dord, Petrick. Not yet, though very soon after, had a kid-scad butt-ended a bland old Isaac. Not yet, though all's fair in vanity, were Sosie Sesters wroth with twa Nat and Joe. Rot a peck of Pasmouth had gem or shen brewed by arclight, and Rory into the Regenbrow was to be seen ringsome on the aquaface. The fall. Baba badal garach ta come in a ron con bron ton ton trova hornon scon to der nentornuk of a once wall-straight old par is retailed early in bed and later on life down through all Christian minstrelsy. The great fall of the Offwall entailed at such short notice the pshoot of Finnegan, ere solid man, that the humpty-head ahead of himself promptly sends an unquiring one well to the west in quest of his tumpty-dum toes. And their upturned pike pointing place is at the knockout in the park, where oranges have been laid to rust upon the green since Devlin's first loved Livy. Big Mr. Finnegan of the stuttering hand, Freeman's Maurer, lived in the broadest way imaginable in his rushlit too far back for messages before Joshua and Judges had given us numbers or Helviticus committed Deuteronomy. One yeasty day he sternly struck his tate in a tub for to wash the future of his fates, but ere he swiftly stuck it out again, by the might of Moses, the very water was evaporated, and all the Guinnesses had met their exodus, so that ought to show you what a penchant judgy chap he was. And during mighty odd years this man of Hod, cement and edifices, in Topers Torp, piled bildung supra bildung upon the banks for the livers by the sowing-so. He had a little fiffy, and he hugged the little crater. With her hair in hunds, talk up your part in her. Oft while Balbalus mit her ahead with goodly trowel and grass, and ivory-oiled overalls, which he had particularly fancied, like Haran Childeric Egbert. He would colligulate by multiplicables the altitude and multitude until he saw by night-light the liquor whereto 'twas born. His round head, staple of other days to rise in undress masonry upstanded, joy granted, a wall-worth of a skyer scrape of most evil height entirely, originating from next to nothing and celescalating the himmels and all, higher architectic the top loftical, with a burning bush of bob off its bobble top, and with larens of toolers clittering up and tumbles of buckets cluttering down. Fee, fo, fum. She just does hopes till buys will be buys. Here, and it goes on to appear now, she comes, a peace fugal, a parody's bird, a parry pot mother, a priggle pick in the island skippy, with pee-wee and pow-wows and baggy-baggy on her bicky-backy, and a flick-flask fleck-flinging its pixie-lighting packs humorangy mows, pickling here, pecking there, pussy-pussy plundered pussy. But it's the Armatides tonight, Millia Puckos, and to morn we wish for a muddy kissmans to the minutia workers. And there's to be a gorgeous truce for happiness childer ever were. Company boomy, and Sue song sing the day we sally bright. She's borrowed the coach's headlight the better to pry. Who goes cute goes sicker and shoes her own, and all spoiled goods go into her knapsack. Cartridges and rattling buttons, nappy spatties and flasks of all nations, clavicures and scapulars, maps, keys and wood piles of haypennies and moon-led brooches with blood-stained breeks in 'em, Boston night-garters and masses of shoe-sets, and nickely-knacks and fodder all Michaels and a lugly parson of Kates and howitzer much-ears and midgers and maggots, ales and owls with laws of toffs and plurs of bells, and the last sigh that come fro the heart, bucklead, and the fairest sin the sun saw, that's cares, with kiss, kiss cross, cross Chris, kiss cross, on the live's end, slain. How beautiful and how true to wife of her, when strangely forbidden to steal our historic presence from the past post-propheticals, so as to will make us all lordy hairs and lady mazeses of a pretty nice kettle of fruit. She's living in our midst of debt, and laughing through all plores for us. Her birth is uncontrollable, with a napper on for her mask, and her sabots kicking arias, so sir, so sully. If yours ask me, and I sack you, ho, Gricks may rise and Troisers fall, there being two sights forever a picture. For in the byways of high improvidence, that's what makes life worth leaving, and the world's a cell for sitters to sit in. Let young women run away with the story, and let young men talk smooth behind the butler's back. She knows her night's duty while Lontum sleeps. Did ye save any tin? He says. Did I what? With a grin she say. And we all like a meridian because she is mercenary, though the length of the land lies under liquidation, flute, and there's ne'er a hair-row nor an eye-bush on this glabrous face of Herrschaft Waterwelter she'll loan a vesta, and hire some peat and sarch the sores, her cockles to heat, and she'll do all a turf woman can to piff the business on, paff, to puff the blaziness on, puff, puff. And even if Humpty shall fall frumpty times as awkward again as the Beelzebulum, of all our grand remonstrancers there'll be eggs for the breakers come to mourn him, sunny side up with care. So true is it that there's where a turn over the tay is wet too, and when you think you catch sight of a hind, make sure but you're cocked by a hin. Stoop, if you're absent-minded, to this clay book. What curious of signs, please stoop, in this aleph bed. Can you read, since we and thou had it out already, its world? It is the same told of all, many, miscegenations on miscegenations, tickle. They lived, and laughed, and loved, and left, Forzin. Thy kingdom is given to the Medes and Porzans, the meander tale, a loss and again, of our old Heidenberg, in the days when head in clouds walked the earth. In the ignorance that implies impression, that knits knowledge, that finds the name form, that whets the wits, that conveys contacts, that sweetens sensation, that drives desire, that adheres to attachment, that dogs death, that bitches birth, that entails the ensuance of existentiality. But with a rush out of his navel, reaching the reredos of Ramaspatham, a terriculous Viblion view this, queer, and it continues to be quaky. A hatch, a celt, an ear share, the poor quos of which was to Cassie the earth crust at all of ours, forwards, backawards, like Yuxon at the turnpat. Here say figurines Bidicus arming and mounting and arming Bidicus figurines see here. Fudork this little F&G is for a fire thing called a flinked for all, Face at the east, oh I fay, face at the west, ho ye fee, up whap and dump 'em, face to face. But the world mind is, was, and will be, writing its own runes forever. Man, on all matters that fall under the ban of our infrarational senses for the last Mishcamo, the heart vein, throbbing between his eyebrows, has still to moor before the tomb of his cousin Charlemagne, where his date is tethered by the palm that's hers. But the horn, the drinking, the day of dread are not now. A bone, a pebble, a ramskin, chip them, chap them, cut them up always, leave them to terra cook in the mothering pot. And Gutenberg with his Cromagnon charter, tiding fast and great primer must once for omnibus step rubric red out of the wordpress, else is there no virtue more in alcoholron. For that, the ripped one warns, is what paper is made of, hides and hints and misses and prints. Till ye finally, though not yet end-like, meet with the acquaintance of Mr. Typus, Mistress Tope, and all the little tip-topties. Full stop. So you need hardly spell me how every word will be bound over to carry 70 top tipsical readings throughout the book of Dublin's joined. May his forehead be darkened with mud who would sunder, till Daleth Mahumma who opened and closeth thereof the door. Creator he has created, for his creatured ones a creation. White monotoid, red theodocrat, and all the pink prophets coalescing? Very much so. But however 'tis sure of one thing, what Sheriff Torah voucher fors and map keek makes put out, that the man, home the Chapner-esque, overseen as we thought him, yet a worthy of the name, came at this time-coloured place where we live, in our parochial firmament, one tied on another, with a bum rush in a hole of a wherry, the twin turbine dow, the bay for dibbling this archipelago's first visiting schooner, with a Wicklow patterned waxen winch at her prow for a figurehead, the Dead Sea doggone up-dip dripping from his depths, and has been repreaching himself like a fish-mummer these 60 years ever since. His shebai by his side, Addy and Aid, growing whorish under his turban, and changing cane sugar into sethulo starch, Tutut says to him, as also that batten the bulky hood he bloats about when inabinated, our old offender was humile, commune, and insectuous from his nature, which you may gauge after the bynames was put under him, and lashons of language, honain suit and praisers be, and totalizating him, even Hamishim of Hamishim that he, sober serious, he is he, and O counter he who will be untimely responsible for the hubbub caused in Edinburgh. His word, it, quaint anticipation of a famous phrase, has been reconstructed out of oral style into verbal for all time with ritual rhythmics, in quiritary quietude, and to so men stuck from successive accounts by Noah Webster in the redaction known as the sayings attributed of H.C. Earwicker, prize on shillings, post lots free. Gaping gill, swift to mate earthers, stern to chick self, diagnosing through Eustache tube that it was to make with a markedly post-puberal hypertituatory type of Heidelberg manlike cavernethics. Lufted his sloping forward, bade Sweatagore good morrow and double notch on to it as he was greedily obliged, and like a sensible ham, with infinite tact in the delicate situation, seeing the touching nature of his perilous theme, thanked him for guilders received in time of day, not a little token of buck all the same, that was our the god's clock it was. And upon humble duty to greet his tisk minister, and he shall gild the gap gaper in thee his mouldy voids, went about his business, whoever it was, saluting corpses, at a matter of course. One could hound him out had one heart for it, the monticules of scalp and dandruff dropping Blaze's tail, accompanied by his trusty snorler and his permanent reflection verbigracious. I have met with you, bird, too late, or if not, too warm and early. And with tag for idiot repeated in his second mouth language, as many of the big-timers' verbatim words which he could baldly call to memory that same Kveldev, ere the hour of the twattering of bards, in the twitter-litter between Druida and the deep sleep sea, when suppertide and souvenir to Charlotte and Maud jointly came gently. Have you heard of one Humpty Dumpty, how he fell with a roll in a rumble, and curled up like Lord Oliver Crumble, by the butt of the magazine wall, hump, helmet and all? He was one time our king of the castle, now he's kicked about like a rotten old parsnip, and from Green Street he'll be sent by order of his worship to the penal jail of Mountjoy, jail him and joy. He was father of all schemes for to bother us, slow coaches and immaculate contraceptives for the populace, bears milk for the sick 7 dry Sundays a week, open air love and religion's reform, hideous in form. Arrah, why, says you, couldn't he manage it? I'll go bail my fine dairyman, darling, like the bumping bull of the Cassidys. All your butter is in his horns, butter his horns. Arrah there, hosty, frosty, hosty, change that shirt on ye, rhyme the ran, the king of all rans. Balbuccio. We had cha-cha-chops, chairs, chewing gum, the chicken pox, and china chambers universally provided by the Soffing So salesman. Swall Wonder he'll cheat Erwan, our local lads nicknamed him, when Chimpton first took the floor with his bucket shop store down Bargain Wig lore. So snug he was in his hotel premises sumptuous, but soon will bonfire all his trash tricks and trumpery, and his short till Jareth Glancy'll be winding up his unlimited company with the bailiff's bum at the door, bim bam at the door, then he'll bum no more. Sweet bad luck on the waves washed to our island, the hooker of that Hammerfest Viking, and Cole's curse on the day when Eblana Bay saw his black and tan man o' war, on the harbour bar. Where from? roars Poolbeg, cocking a pensy, bulls Donna's my scampital, wickin' whippin' fantasy, Fingal McGuster, unsigned Bergers, Boniface, Toxmint, Gamelhull, Norvikers, Moniker, August or at Gamelhull, Norvikers called, a Norwegian camel old cod, he is big God. Lift it, hosty, lift it, ye devil, ye, up with the rhyming ran. It was during some freshwater garden pumping, or according to the nursing mirror while administering the monkeys, that our heavyweight heathen Humphrey made bold a maid to woo. Woo-hoo, what'll she do? The general lost her maiden Lou. He ought to blush for himself, the old hay-headed philosopher, for to go and shove himself that way on top of her. Big gob, he's the crux of the catalogue of our antediluvial zoo. Messrs. Belling and Coo, Noah's lark's good as new. He was jolting by Wellington's monument, our rotorious hippopotamons, when some bugger let down the back trap of the omnibus and he caught his death of Fusiliers, with his rent in his rears, give him 6 years. 'Tis sore pity for his innocent poor children, but look out for his missus legitimate. When that Froo gets a grip of old Earwicker, won't there be earwiggers on the green? Big earwigs on the green, the largest you ever seen. Sophocles, Shakespeare, Pseudo-Danto, Anonymous. Then we'll have a free trade girls' band in mass meeting, for to sod the brave son of Scandinavary, and we'll bury him down in Oxman's town along with the devil and Danes, with the deaf and dumb Danes and all their remains. And not all the king's men nor his horses will resurrect his corpus, for there's no true spell in Connacht or hell that's able to raise a cane. When Fizz-Fin Phil once throws his lip, 'tis folly to be fortune flaunting. And whoever's gone to Migg's Hotel by the salt say water, there is next to nothing we can do, for he's never again to see. It is nebulous and autodidact fact of the commonest that the shape of the average human cloudy fizz whereas Sallow has long days faded, frequently altered his ego with the passing of the showers, not original. Whence it is a slopperish matter, given the wet and low visibility, since in this Scheherazade of 1001 nightiness that sort of certainty which will identify the body never fails. To identifying of the individuum in scratch wig, square cuts, stock lavalier, regattable oxeter, baggy pants and shufflers. He's often alluded to as Sly Patrick, the lad in the lane, with already an incipience, lust, in the direction of area baldness. One is continually first meeting with all sorts of others at all sorts of ages. Television kills telephony in Brothers Broil. Our eyes demand their turn. Let them be seen. And wolf-bone balefires blaze the trailmost, if only that marry nothing may burst her baby buck she. When they set fire then, she's got to glow, so we may stand some chances of warming to whatever scour tobacco Tum or Hum would like to know. And there, oft after, jaunty jogging on an Irish vis-a-vis, in steadily with shoulder to shoulder Jehu will tell to Christianer, saint to sage, the Humphreyet of that fall and rise, while Daisy winks at her pinker sister, among the tussocks, and the couple between the shafts mocks the couple on the car. And as you're who may look like how on the other side of his big beltry your tears enclose, your nose and paradigm may rise in Aaron. Follow we up his whip vindictive, Thurstons, lo be bold, lo arboro, lo petrussu. The Augustan peace between the oaks, the monolith rising stark from the moonlit pine barren, and all fortitudinous Ajaxius rowed in noisy tenuosity. The angelus hour, with ditchers bent upon their farm ozen tensiles, the soft belling of the fallow deers, dormus genuine, advertising their milky approach as midnight was striking the hours, letate, and how brightly the great tribune outed the shark-skin smoke wallet, imitation, from his frock kippers, and by Joshua he tips on a topping swank cheroot. None of your swellish side, quite the reverse, and how manfally, he says, pluck to pluck and lecken for look on, he was to just pluggy well suck that brown boy on my son, and spend a whole half hour in Havana. Be these mere merchant tailors' fablings of a race referend with Ottoman Rex? Is now all seen, heard, then forgotten? Can it was, one is fain in this leaden age of letters now to wit, that so diversified outrages, they still have to come, were planned and partly carried out against so staunch a covenanter, if it be true, then any of those recorded ever took place for many, we trow, bayes to and denayed of, are given to us by some who use the truth but sparingly, and we on this side ought to sorrow for their pricking pens on that account. The corruptible lay quick, all saints of incorruption of an holy nation, the common or avant-garde and castaway, and read resurrection to condemn so they might convince him, first Pharaoh, Humperis chiops exarchas of their proper sins. Bosonis bred to speak with a stiff upper lip to all men, and most occasions the man we wot of took little short of fighting chances. But for all that he or his care were subjected to the horrors of the premier terror of Ireland, perhaps. The mouth that tells not will ever attract the unthinking tongue, and so long as the obscene draws there which hear not so long, till all earth's damnation shall the blind lead the deaf. Tacho, tawny yeaklings, the column of lumps lends the pattern of the leaves behind us. If violence to life, limb, and chattels, often as not, has been the expression, direct or through an agent male of womanhood offended, as not levy of blackmail from the times of fairies were in it, and fain for wild earth blossoms followed an impressive private reputation for whispered sins? Now, by memory inspired, turn wheel again to the hole of the wall, where giant Blyants from Penalomore, there was once upon a wall, and a hugwog wall it was, and such a wall did exist, ere or in Ireland. or you dares hair, or you diggin' boses, or your horde of orts or yorts to garble Gorthin of Auden and the play Palladays when all the items ended with abyss. Or men? The evaluation of human society, and a testament of the rocks from all the dead unto some the living. Oliver's lambs we do call them, scatterlings of a stone, and they shall be gathered unto him, their herd and paladin, as nubilets to Cumul, in that day when, saying the lightning lancer Asava Arthur honoured, some Finnegans, he shall wake from earth's sleep. Halted Crestel Elmer, in his Vala of Briers of Greenman's rise. Oh, lost leaders live, the heroes return, and o'er Dun and Dale the Wolver Overlord protect us, his mighty horn shall roll o'er land roll. For in those days, his days us shall ask of all pro home, and call to him, all pro home, and he shall answer, ad som, nor wink, nor wonk. Animadim bolum, mene credisti mortum? Silence was in thy fostive halls, O Truiga, when thy green woods went dry, but there will be sounds of many mirth on night's ear, ringing when our pantimirk of comes to town to noble gets the pullover on his boots. Liverpool? Sought a bit of it. His brains cooled parich, his pelt nassy, his heart's a drone, his blood streams a crawl, his puff but a piff, his extremities extremely so, fenglass, palm broke, chill blamand and baldow. Humph is in his dodge. Words weigh no more to him than raindrops to Redfern him, which we all like, rain, when we sleep. Drops, but wait until our sleeping drain stops. But abide, sight summon serving, rise after fall. Blue blitz bolted from there, knowing the hingeworms of the hallmarks of habitationlessness, buried borrowing in Gehinnen, to proliferate through all his unterwealth, seam by seam, shale shale, and revisit our upper crust Sidereal of utilitarios, the divine one, the hoarder, hidden propagating his plutor popular progenium of pots and pans and pokers and puns, from Biddinland to Bochtenland, the spearway for the sporeway. Even the first old wugger of himself in the flesh, Wigissimus incarnadined, when false-sighted by the if such he was bully on the hill, for there had circulated freely fairly among his opposition the feeling that in so hibernating Massa Awaka, who, previous to that demi-detached life, had been known of barmecidal days, cook said, between soups and savours, to get outside his own length of rainbow trout, and terts at a turn as no man of woman born, nay, could, like the great crested brabe, devour his 70 of roach per life day, and as many minnow a minute. The big mix may gibbet choke him, was like the salmon of his ladder leap, all this time of totality, secretly and by suckage feeding on his own misplaced fat. The solid man, saved by his sillied woman, cracked joking away like a hearse on fire. The elm that whimpers at the top told the stone that moans when stricken. Wind broke it, wave bore it, reed wrote of it, sick ran with it. Hand tore it, and wild went war, hand reaved it in plight-pledged peace. It was folded with cunning, sealed with crime, uptied by a harlot, undone by a child. It was life, but was it fair? It was free, but was it art? The old hunks on the hill read it to perlection. It made ma make merry, and sissy so shy, and rubbed some shine off Shem, and put some shame into Sean. Yet Una and Eta spill famine with drought, and Agrippa, the propastored, spells tribulations in his train. Ah, furchte fruchte, timid danades, ena millo millimon, frey is frau, and sway is toe, sway is two, and swo is free, anna mala woe is we. A pair of syncopantes with amygdaline eyes, one old upster lumpy pumpkin, and 3 meddlers on their slies. And that was how Fram, Zin from Son, Acity arose, Fin, Fun, Fun, sitting arrows. Now tell me then! Well, even should not the framing up of such figments in the evidential order bring the true truth to light as fortuitously as a dim seer setting of a star chart might, heaven helping it, uncover the nakedness of an unborn body in the fields of blue, or as forhearingly as the speeches of all mankind have foliated, earth seizing them, from the root of some fun or stutter all the soundest sense to be found immense our special mentalists now holds. Securus inquat orbios terrarum, that by such playing possum our hageous curator ancestor bestly saved his brush with his posterity, you, charming copper sinners, us, heirs of his talesy. Totis testes, quotis questis, the war is in words, and the wood is the world. Mapley me, willowy we, hickory he, and you yourselves. How for him chirrupeth ever each bird, from gold on glory to glow-worm gleam, we were low quacks, did we not tacit turn. Elsewhere, there, here no concern of the Guinnesses, but only the ruining of the rain has heard. Estout poor potterreel. Cracklings cricked, a human pest cycling, pest and recycling, past, above the sledgy streets, here he was, post again. Morse nuisance noise, he was loosed at large, and oh baby, might be anywhere when a distinguished exton of huge stad bluid and masculine manners in her fairly fat 40s, carpulenta gigasta, had attracted attention by arbitrary conduct with a omnibus. And let him rest, thou wayfarer, and take no grave spoon from him, neither mar his mount, the bane of tut is on it, where. But there's a little lady waiting, and her name is A.L.P., and you'll agree she must be she, for her holden hair heaps hanging down her back. He spent his strength among harum-scarums, Poppy Narency, Gialia, Clora, Marinka, Annaline, Parme, and ilk o' those dames had her rainbow humours, yet for Wilco her whims. But he coined a cure. Tiff-tiff today, kissy-kiss tonight, an age-long pine tomorrow nana. In the name of Anna the all-mazeful, the ever-living, the bringer of plurabilities, haloed be her eve, her sing-time sung, her rill be run, unhemmed as it is uneven. The proteiform graph itself is a polyhedron of scripture. There was a time when naif alphabeters would have written it down the tracing of a purely delinquescent recidivist, possibly ambidextrous, snub-nosed probably, and presenting a strangely profound rainbow in his or her occipit. To the heartily curiosing entomophilist, then, it has shown a very sex mosaic of nymphosis, in which the eternal chimera hunter Oreolopos, now frond of sugars, then leaf of salts, the sensory crowd in his belly, coupled with an eye for the goods, truth bewilderblissed by their night effluvia with guns like drums, and fondlers like forceps, persequestulates his Vanessas from floor to floor. Somehows this sounds like the purest kiddly-yoon, wherein our modern accuracy of Lord is rich. Also harrow from us him in the kitchen of darkness, by hazard and warned rolls ireward. We must grope on till 0 hour, like pow-ow gyors as we are wood, we salve aught of moments for ice or today. Amusing though not but, closer inspection of the border rule would reveal a multiplicity of personalities, inflicted on the documents or document, and some prevision of virtual crimes, or crime, might be made by anyone unwary enough before any suitable occasion, for it or them had so far managed to happen along. In fact, under the closed eyes of the inspectors, the traits featuring the chiaroscuro coalesce, their contrarieties eliminated, in one stable somebody, similarly as by the providential warring of heartshaker with housebreaker, and of dime drinker against free thinker, our social something bowls along bumpily, experiencing a jolting series of prearranged disappointments down the long lane of it's as simple as Oxhouse Humper, generations, more generations, and still more generations. Straight away to run off and vision her plump and plain in her natural altogether, preferring to close his blinkered eyes to the ethical fact that she was, after all, wearing for the space of the time being some indefinite articles of evolutionary clothing, inharmonious creations, a captious critic might describe them as, or not strictly necessary, or a trifle irritating here and there, but for all it's suddenly full of local colour and personal perfume, and suggestive too of so very much more, and capable of being stretched, filled out, if need or wish were, of having their surprisingly like coincidental parts separated, don't they now? For better survey by the deft hand of an expert, don't you know? Who in his heart doubts either that the facts of feminine clothiering are there all the time, or the feminine fiction, stranger than the facts, is there also at the time, only a little to the rear? Or that one may be separated from the other, or that both may then be contemplated simultaneously, or that each may be taken up and considered in turn apart from the other? You is feeling like you is lost in the bush, boy? You says, it is a puling sample jungle of woods. You must shouts out, bethicket me for a stump of a beech, I have the poetry's notions what the farthest he all means. Give up, girlie. The court gospelers may own the Targum, but any of the Tsingari Shulerim may pick a peck of kindlings yet from the sack of Old Hen Zion. Lead, kindly fowl. They always did, ask the ages. What bird has done yesterday, man may do next year, be it fly, be it moult, be it hatch, be it agreement in the nest. For her socio-scientific sense is sound as a bell, sir. Her volucrine automotimativeness right on normalcy. She knows. She just feels she was kind of born to lay and love eggs. Trust her to propagate the species, and whoosh her fluffballs safe through din and danger. Lastly, but mostly, in her genesic field it is all game and no gammon. She is ladylike in everything she does, and plays the gentleman's part every time. Let us auspice it. Yes, before all this has time to end, the golden age must return with its vengeance. Man will become dirigable, ague will be rejuvenated. Women, with her ridiculous wide burden, will reach by one step sublime incubation. The main-wanting human lioness, with her dishonoured discipular man-ram, will lie down together publicly, flank upon fleece. No, assuredly they are not justified. Those gloom-pourers who grouse that letters have never been quite their old selves again since that weird weekday in bleak Genevieve. Yet how palmy date in a waste's oasis, when, to the shock of both, Biddy Doran looked at literature. These rude barriers, along which the traced words run, march, halt, walk, stumble at doubtful points, stumble up again in comparative safety, seem to have been drawn first of all in a pretty checker with lampblack and blackthorn. Such crossing is anti-Christian, of course, but the use of the home-born shillelagh as an aid to calligraphy shows a distinct advance from savagery to barbarism. It is seriously believed by some that the intention may have been geodetic, or, in the view of the cannier, domestic economical. But by writing thitherways end-to-end and turning and end-to-end thitherways, writing with lines of litter slithering up and louds of ladders slithering down, the old semitomy place, and droop it back again from them let rise till home lit. Sleep, where in the waste is the wisdom? Those were the days, and he was their hero. Pink sunset shower, red clay cloud, sorrow of Sahara, oxhide on Erin. Arraigned and attained, listed and lighted, pleaded and proved, catches his check at back of inganged and endures his boom at chapel exit. Brain of the Franks, hand of the Christian, tongue of the North, commands to dinner and calls the bluff, has a block at Morgan's and a hat take after the after-lunch. Plays Gemmerat when he's ernst, but Mrs. Mossy when he's lustig. Walked as far as the head, where he sat in state as the rump. Shows early English trace marks, and a marigold window, and man-gilt lights. A marioscope, 2 remarkable piscines, and 3 well-worth-seeing ambries. Arched all, portcullis, and his nave dates from dots. The handwriting on his face wall, the cryptoconcoidus sophoros in his expressions, his birth spot lies beyond the Hellespont, and his burial plot in the pleasant little field, is the oldest kiosk on the peninsula, and the youngest hotel in St. Scholarland. Walked many hundreds and many score miles from streets and lit thousands and one nightlights in hectares of widows. His great wide cloak lies on 15 acres, and his little white horse decks by dozens outdoors. O sorrow the sail and woe the rudder that we set for Mary Quay. His sons the Huns, his darters the Tartars, are plenty here today. Does your mutter know your Mike? Answer. When I turn me optics from such urban prospects, 'tis my filial's bosom doth behold with pride that pontificator and circumvallator with his damn-knight Gurulus slipped by his side, and alive, the lisp of her. 'Twold Grieg mountains whisper her, and the bergs of Iceland melt in waves of fire, and her spoon me spondies, and her dirkle me ondines, make the ragious Ossian kneel in quaff of lyre. If Dan's Dane, Anne's dirty. If he's plain, she's purty. If he's fain, she's flirty with her Albert streams and her coy cahalories, and her dabbling drolleries, for to rose his roder up, or to drench his dreams. If hot Hammurabi or cold Ecclesiastes could espy her pranklings, they'd burst bounds again and renounce their ruinings and denounce their doings for river and ever and a night. Amen. And how are your Maggies? Answer. They were loving, they love laughing, they laugh weeping, they weep smelling, they smell smiling, they smile hating, they hate thinking, they think feeling, they feel tempting, they tempt daring, they dare waiting, they wait taking, they take thanking, they thank seeking, as born forlorn in lore of love to live, and wive by while and rile by rule of rules, wreathed rose in hose hold home, yeth comus elopier, coach and four, sweet peg at my heart, picks one man more. Now, to be on anew and basking again in the panorama of all floors of speech, if a human being duly fatigued by his deity in the sooty, having plenty of time on his goatee hands, and vacance of space at his sleepish feet, and as hapless behind the dreams of accuracy as any Camelot prince of Denmark, were at his actual, futual, preterite instant, in the states of suspensive examination, accorded throughout the eye of a noodle, with an ear-sighted view of old Copenhagen, with all the ingredient and agrariant wicks and ways to which, in the curse of his persistence, the course of his story has been having recourses, the reverberation of knot-cracking awes, the reconjugation of note-binding a's, the redecilongingness of mind-motoring a's, and the thereby hang of the whole of it, could such anon, whiles even led calm silencers to calm lie withers, and till intemptuous knocks should catch the galley cry and spot lookings done, by hold at one what is bane, and why 'tis twain, how one once meet melts in t'other once poignings, the sap rising, the foals falling, the nymph now nihilant round the girly head so becoming, the restless in the womb, all the rivals to all see, shakes again, oh disaster, shake a loose, oh how starring, but Hang's got a bit of horse's nose, and Jeff's got the sign of Ham round his mouth, and Bew that spun beautiful pales as it paws. What rose rude and oragaceous grows galban green, blew out of end of it, violets died, then what would that fire gazer seem to himself to seeming of dim at all? Answer, a kaleidoscope. Shem is as short for Seamus as Jen is jokey for Jacob. A few toughnecks are still getatable who pretend that aboriginally he was a respectable stemming. He was an outlex between the lines of Raganor, Blowbarb, and Horlid Hairwire, and an in-law to Cap the Hon and Rev Mr. Beardward. The top blug was among his most distant connections. But every honest-to-goodness man in the land of the space of today knows that his back life will not stand being written about in black and white. Putting truth and untruth together, a shot may be made at what this hybrid actually was like to look at. Oh, the lowness of him was beneath all up to that sunk too. No light bid like fire water, or first served fire shot, or gullet burn gin, or honest brew barret bear either. Oh dear, no. Instead, the tragic jester sobbed himself way-wingly sick of life on some sort of rhubarbarous, mandarin, yellow-green, funko-blue, windy-gut, dying applejack squeezed from sour grapefruit, and to hear him twixt his sentimental cop-slips when he had gulped down much too many gourds of it, retching off to almost as low with swillers. Out of his watermost keyhole, spitting at the impenetrable wetter, and it was Portugasly that autumn, with an each-way hope in his shivering soul, as he prayed to the cloud incertitude of finding out for himself an account of all the cools of Krukaparka, or orving to all the cold selgs of Kalatavala. Whether true conciliation was forging ahead or falling back after the celestious intemperance, and for Dovelzacher, why with this see me see and his me see a Corvus and his frucker Fosker layin loves and meing sing, he got the charm of his optical life when he found himself, hic sunt Leonis, at point-blank range, blinking down the barrel of an irregular revolver of the bulldog with a purpose pattern, handled by an unknown quarreller who supposedly had been told off to shade and shoot shy Shem should the shit show his shiny snout out a while to look facts in their face before being hosed and creased, up rippin' jackum, by 6 or a dozen of the gay boys. My wood! The warped flooring of the lair, and sound-conducting walls thereof, to say nothing of the uprights and imposts, were Persianly literatured with burst love-letters, tell-tale stories, sticky-back snaps, doubtful eggshells, bouchers, flints, borers, puffers, amygdaloid, almonds, rindless raisins, alphabet-deformed verbiage, biblical vices, umpiter dictas, vicis umbique, ahems and ahas, ineffable tries at speech unsyllabled. You o me's, I hold hims, flew foul smut, fallen lucifers, vestas which had served, showered ornaments, borrowed brogues, reversible jackets, black-eye lenses, family jars, false hair shirts, God-forsaken scapulars, never-worn breeches, cutthroat ties, counterfeit francs, best intentions, curried notes, upset Latin tin-tacks, unused mill and stumbling stones, twist quills, painful digests, magnifying wineglasses, solid objects cast at goblins, once current puns, quashed quotados, messages of mottage, unquestionable issue papers, seedy ejaculations, limerick dams, crocodile tears, spilt ink, blepharomotory spits, stale chestnuts, schoolgirls, young ladies, milkmaids, washerwomen, shopkeepers' wives, merry widows, ex-nuns, vice abbesses, pro-virgins, super-horses, silent sisters, his Charlie's aunts, his grandmothers, his mothers-in-laws, fathers, mothers, godmothers, garters, tress clippings from right, left, and centrum, worms and snot, toothsome pickings, cans of Swiss condensed milk, highbrow lotions, kisses from the antipodes, presents from pickpockets, borrowed plumes, relaxable hand grips, princess promises, lees of wine, dexodized carbons, convertible collars, divilocular duffers, broken wafers, unloosed shoe latchets, crooked straight waistcoats, fresh horrors from Hades, globules of mercy on deleted glade, glass eyes for an eye, gloss teeth for a tooth, hormones, special size, long sufferings of long standing, ahs, ohs, oohs, sis, jas, those, jas, nays, those, yours, yeses and yeses and yeses, to which, if one has the stomach to add, the breakages, upheavals, distortions, inversions of all this chambermaid music one stands. Given a grain of goodwill, a fair chance of actually seeing the whirling dervish, tumult, son of thunder, self-exiled in upon his ego, a night long, a shaking between white or redder horrors, noonday terrorized to skin and bone by an ineluctable phantom. May the Shaper have mercy on him, writing the mystery of himself in furniture. Then pious Aeneas, conforming to the fulmen and firman which enjoins on the tremulous terrain, that when the call comes, he shall produce numerically from his unheavenly body a no uncertain quantity of obscene matter not protected by copyright in the United Stars of Urania, or but deed and but dood and but dang and but dung to him, with his double die, brought to blood heat, gallic acid on iron ore, through the bowels of his misery, flashly, faithfully, nastily, appropriately, this Esuin Menshevik, and the first till last alchemist, wrote over every square inch of the only foolscap available, his own body, till by its corrosive sublimation, one continuous present tense integument, slowly unfolding all merry-voicing, mood-moulded, cycle-wheeling history, thereby, he said, reflecting from his own individual person, life unlivable, transaccidentiated through the slow fires of consciousness, into individual chaos, perilous, potent, common to all flesh, human only, mortal. But with each word that would not pass away, the squid self which he had screened from the crystalline world waned chagrined and Dorian Greyer in its dodod. This exists, that is its, after having been said, we know. And Dabal, take Dabnal, and the Dal, Dabal, Dab, I'm the Dabal. Let us pry, we thought would and did. Cur que quid ubi commodo quotis cubis auxiliis? You were bred, fed, fostered and fattened, from unholy childhood up in this two Easter island, on the page of hilarious heaven, and roaring the other place. Plunders the night of you, blunders what's left of you, flash as flash can. And now, forsooth, another among the blankards of this dastard century, you have become a twoson twin minds forenanced gods, hidden and discovered, nay, condemned fool, anarch, egorch, heresiarch. You have reared your disunited kingdom on the vacuum of your own most intensely doubtful soul. Do you hold yourself then for some god in the manger, Shehohem, that you will neither serve nor let serve, pray nor let pray? And here, pay the piety, must I too nerve myself to pray for the loss of self-respect to equip me for the horrible necessity of scandalizing? My dear sisters, are you ready? By sloughing off my hope and tremors while we all swim together in the pool of Sodom? I shall shiver for my purity, while they will weep beg for your sins. Away with covered words, new solemnities for old Bathshebas, that inharmonious detail, did you name it? Cold cowder, gee, victory! Sniffer of carrion, premature gravedigger, seeker of the nest of evil in the bosom of a good word, you, who sleep at our vigil and fast for our feast, you, with your dislocated reason, have cutely foretold a Jophet in your own absence, by blind pouring upon your many scalds in burns and blisters, impetiginous sore and pustules by the auspices of that raven cloud, your shade, and by the auguries of rooks in parliament, death with every disaster, the dynamitization of colleagues, the reducing of records to ashes, the levelling of all customs by blazes, the return of a lot of sweet-tempered, gunpowdered didst unto dust, but it never struck your mud-heads obtundity. Oh, hell, here comes our funeral. Oh, pest, I'll miss the post. That the more carrots you chop, the more turnips you slit, the more Murphys you peel, the more onions you cry over, the more bull beef you butch, the more mutton you crack or hack, the more potterbs you pound, the fiercer the fire, and the longer your spoon, and the harder you grew, with more grease to your elbow, the merrier fumes your new Irish stew. Mercius of hisself. Domina Fopiscus! My fault, his fault, a kingship through a fault. Pariah, cannibal Cain! I who oathly forswore the womb that bore you, and the paps I sometimes sucked. You who ever since have been one black mass of jigs and jim-jams, haunted by a convulsionary sense of not having been, or being all that I might have been, or you might meant to becoming, bewailing like a man that innocence which I could not defend like a woman. Lo, you there, Cathmon Carberry, and thank movies from the innermost depths of my still attrite heart, wherein the days of youth are ever mixed my mind, now ere the compline hour of being alone attends itself. In a puff or so before we yield our spiritus to the wind. For, though that royal one has not yet drunk a gotelet from his consummation, and the flower pot on the pole, the Spaniard pack in their quarry, retainers and the public-house proprietor have not budged a millimetre, and all that has been done has yet to be done, and done again. Wednesday's woe, and lo, you're doomed, joy day dawns, and lo, you're dominate. It is you, firstborn and first fruit of woe, to me, branded sheep, pick of the waster paper bascule, by the tremors of Thundery and Olerin's dog-star, you alone, wind-blasted tree of the knowledge of beautiful and evil, aye, clothed upon with meteor and shimmering like the Horsians, Astroglaudi Namanon Logos, the child of Nilfit's father, Bilsba, to me, unseen blusher and an obscene call-hole, the cubiculum of your secret sigh, dweller in the down and outermost, where voice only of the dead may come, because he left me, because he laughed on me, because, oh, my lonely son, you are forgetting me, that our turf-bound mummy is a-coming, running with her tidings, all the news of that great big world. Sonny's had a scrap. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bab's baby walks at 7 months. Way, way, way. Bride leaves her raid at punctious time. Studs stoned before a race course are full. 2 bells that make the one appeal. Dry Yanks will visit old sod. And 40-yard skirts are up, mesdames, while Paracony wears popular short legs. And 12 hours to mix a tipsy wake, did ye hear, in Cold Cunny? Did ye ever, Philly Fortescue? With a beck, with a spring, all her real ringlets shaken, rocks, drops in her tacky, tram tokens in her hair, all waved to a point, and then, all innuendation, little old-fashioned mummy, little wonderful mummy, ducking under bridges, bell hopping the weir, dodging by a bit of bog, rapid shooting round the bends by Talloch's green hills and the pools of the Pooka, and a place they call it Blessington, and slipping sly by Sallynoggin, as happy as the day is wet, babbling, bubbling, chattering to herself, deludering the fields on their elbows, leaning with the sleuthering slide of her, giddy-gaddy, granny ma, gossip, pageous Anne Olivia. He lifts the life wand and the dumb speak. Oh, tell me all about Anne Olivia. I want to hear all about Anne Olivia. Well, you know Anne Olivia. Yes, of course, we all know Anne Olivia. Tell me all. Tell me now. She'll die when you hear. Well, you know, when the old Cheb went foot and did what you know. Yes, I know. Go on. Wash quit and don't be dabbling. Tug up your sleeves and loosen your talk tapes. And don't butt me. Hike when you bend. Nancy the Nixie, Nanon Lescaut, in the silence of the sycamores, all listening, the kindling curves you simply can't stop feeling. He plunged both of his newly anointed hands, the core of his kushlas, in her singing Mary saffron Strumman's hair, parting them and soldering her and mingling it, that was deep dark and ample like this red bog at sundown. By that veil, Vauclois's Lodilac, the Regan Bio's heaven arches arranged oranged her. A froth dizzying gulbs her enamelled eyes, ender goading him on to the verge violation. Wish a wish, why a why? Chirrupa chirruta, while pooing her pea, pure and simple, on the spur of the hill in old Kippur, in bird-song and shearing time, but worst of all, the wiggly Livy, she side-slipped out by a gap in the Devil's Glen, when Sally, her nurse, was sound asleep in a sloten, fee-fee, fee-fee, fell over a spillway before she found her stride and lay and wriggled in all the stagnant black pools of Rainy under a fallow coo, and she laughed, innocent-free, with her limbs aloft, and a whole droven of maiden hawthorns blushing and looking askance upon her. Drop me the sound of the fine horn's name, Matoo, or Matee, some bugger was witness, and drip me why in the Flanders was she frickled, and trickle me through was she Marcella waved, or was it weirdly a wig she wore? And which side did they droop their glows in their flory, a back to wist, or front to see? And fear to hear the dear so near, or longing, loath, and loathing longing. Are you in the swim, or are you out? Oh, go in, go on, go on! Then all that was fair. 'Tis Elvenland, teams of times and happy returns, the same anew. Ordovico, or vi ricordo. Anna was, Livia is, pluribels to be. Northmen's thing made South folks' place, but how multi-pluriters made each one in person. Lad me that, my Trinity scholard, out of era Sanskrit into our Aaron. Hercus, Sivis, Ebelanensis. He had buck-good paps on him, soft ones for orphans. Oh, Lord, twins of his bosom, Lord save us, and ho, hey, what all men, hot? His tittering daughters of, walk? Can't hear with the waters of, the chittering waters of, flittering bats, field mice, bog talk. Oh, are you not going home? What, home alone? Can't hear with the bark of bats, all them living waters of. Oh, dog, save us! My foos won't moose. I feel as old as yonder elm. A tale told of Sean or Shem? All Livia's daughter sons, dark hogs hear us. Night, night, my whole head caws. I feel as heavy as yonder stone. Tell me of John or Sean. Who were Shem and Sean, the living sons or daughters of? Night now. Tell me, tell me, tell me, night, night. Tell me tale of stem or stone, beside the rivering waters of, hither and thithering waters of. Night. The whole Thugog Magog, including the portions understood to be omitted as the results of the respective titulars neglecting to produce themselves, to be wound up for an after-enactment by a perfect transformation scene, showing the radium wedding of night and morning, and the dawn of peace, pure, perfect, and perpetual, waking the weary of the world. She's fading out like Journey's clothes, so you can't see her now. Still we know how day the dyer works, in dims and deeps, and dusks and darks. And among the shades that Eve's now wearing, she'll meet a new fiancé, tryst and trow. Mammy was, Mimmy is, minusculins to be. In the D dips a dame, and the dame desires a damsel, but the damsel dresses Dolly, and the Dolly does a Dulcie Damble. The same renew. For though she's unmarried, she'll have to truss up and help that husband how to hop. Hip it and trip it and cheer up and sing, Lord Chuffy Sky Seraph and Glug's got to swing. So and so, toe by toe, to and fro they go round. For they are the Ingalls, scattering nods as girls who may, for they are an angel's garland. And Time, the chef of seasoners, has made his usual astute use of end adjustables, and what not will be, insore was. Those dansadales and cancancies have come stimmering down for our begamement through the bedore form of Poe's take-horns, the obsessity of Pa's teapots, as lithe and limb-free limber as when mummy mum to ma. Just so styled with the gnats are their flower heads now, and each of us has a love-stock unto herself, and the thought of all the tits of their understamens is as open as he composably she, and is tournesoled straight-cut or side-waist, according to the corsets of things feminine, towards him in heliotery. Hence it will paineth the chase-not, in that whereof his whence he had loseth his ones for every, even though mode grew more and more maned rich, and the terror of boom decay. And maculacy, give but to drink to his shirt, and all skirt escortas must change her tunics. So ward he from first to last, forband and betweenly, a smuggler for lifer. Lift the blank vi veered as hile, split the fide in a size heaven, He knows, for he's seen it in black and white through his eye trumpet trained upon jennies, and all that sort of thing which is dandymount to a clear obscure. In the house of breathings lies that word, all fairness. The walls are of Rubenin, and the glitter gates of elfin bone. The roof hereof is a massicious jasper, and a canopy of Tyrian awning rises and still descends to it. A great cluster of lights hangs there beneath, and all the house is filled with the breathings of her fairness, the fairness of fondness, and the fairness of milk and rhubarb, and the fairness of roasted meats and union margarets, and the fairness of promise with consonantia and avowals. There lies her word, you reader. The height hereup exalts it, and the lowness here down abasseth it. It vibro-verberates upon the tegmen, and prosplodes from Pomoeria. The window, a hedge, a prong, a hand, an eye, a sign, a head, and keep your other auger on her pay. And you have it, old Sem, pat as I be seated. And Sonny, my gander, he's coming to land her, the boy which she now adores, she adores. Oh, backed von dem tug, make feg for their tug. Spicksbuck spoken. So now be hushy, little pukers. Side here ruhish, cleany fuglers. Grandicellis all stay titty. Adulteru rest as before, for you've jolly welly doddled all the day. When ye coif tentacles hat, then it'll be largely temps for that. Yet's the time for being now. For a burning world is come to dance inane. Glamours hath moiders leaps, and heretofore colders must leap no more, lack breath must leap no more. Lel lolsful Lieberman, liebling his lore. Lo, Lieberman, you love to be leaving Libnius. Lift your right to your Liber lord, link your left to your lass of liberty. La, Lieberman, your leps but a loop to lee. A fork of hazel o'er the field in fox, the fair vine virgin's ode. If you cross this road as ye roam the rand, I'm blessed, but you'd feel him a blasting rod. Behind me, freeze from evil smells, perdition stinks before us. The mar of murmury murmurs to the mind's ear, uncharted rock, evasive weed. Only the call knows his thousand first name, Hocus crocus exquiliocus, fin the faineant. How feel full foes in furinar? Doth it not all come after you, purity snooper? In the way television opes long times after, when Ptolemaic Sauter or Sordan Alipus, the Lollapalooza? The chances are you will remember, the chances are you won't. Bet it's old Joe, the Jabba Jane, older even than Odom Castolo. And we are currently meeting him, par mahun mesme, in cycloanalysis from space to space, time after time, in various phases of scripture, as various poses of sepulture. Greets God, groceries, Marodach, defend the king, hot of the rough throat attack. But whose say is soft, but whose he has a cute angle? He whose hut is a hisserlick, even as her hennins aspire. And in so daintily she's a quine of Zelm a shaker, while as a murder of corpse she's maggots up. He's the best baritone sanger in all the isles of Scandinavia, as who shall hear, for now at last is long a bed going to be gone to, that more than man, prince of Bunnycombe of white roadsters, the herb lord, the gillyflowerets, so fain fond to flatter about. For the clearer of the air from on high has spoken in tumblum tambledam to his tembledim tumbledum world, and mogaphonoised by that phonemanon, the inhabitants of the earth have rumbled from firmament unto fundament, and from tweedle-deedle-dums down to twiddle-dee-dees. Loud hear us, loud graciously hear us. Now have thy children entered into their habitations, and nation glad, camp meeting over, to Shinnet, Gov be thanked. Thou hast closed the portals of the habitations of thy children, and thou hast set thy guards thereby, even Garda Didymus and Garda Domus, that thy children may read it in the book of the opening of the mind to light, and err not in the darkness, which is the afterthought of thy no matter, by the guardians of those guards which are thy boatmen, the cherubim cherubos, with the cherubomers in their crabeams. Pray your prayers, Timothy, and back to Bunk Tom, till tree from tree, tree among trees, tree over tree becomes stone to stone, stone between stones, stone under stone forever. O loud, hear thee, we beseech of these, of each of these thy unlitten ones. Grant sleep in hours time, O loud, that they take no chill, that they do mean no murder, that they shall not go meet made howya trees. Loud, heap miseries upon us, yet entwine our arts with laughters low. Ha, hey, he, ho, ho, mum. Ein Soph, this upright one, with that naughty beside him zeroing. To see in his horoscope, he is mercurious than zouts of sulphur, terror off the noon struck by day, cryptogram of each nightly bribable. But to speak broken heaven talk, is he? Who is he? Whose is he? Why is he? How much is he? Which is he? When is he? Where is he? How is he? And what the deacons is there about him anyway, the decent man? Easy, calm your haste, approach to lead our passage. The tasks above are as the flasks below, saith the emerald canticle of Hermes. And all's loth and pleisister, are we told, on excellent ink-bottle authority, solar systemized, serial cosmically, in a more and more almightily expanding universe, under one, there is rhymeless reason to believe, original sun. Securely judges orb terrestrial, haud certo ergo, but o felitiously culpability, sweet bad cess to you for an architect. For as Anna was at the beginning, lives yet, and will return after great deep sleep re-rising, and a white night high with the cows of Drumheim, as showers there's a wet and clouded in West Wicklow, or a little black rose a truant in a thorn tree. We dreams our dreams till Bappy returns, the Zine and news. We will not say it shall not be, this passing of order and orders coming. But in the herbist country, and in the countries round Blath, as in that city self of legions, they look for its being ever yet. So shuttled the pipers done, Eric a boy, and it's time that all paid tribute to this massive mortality, the pink of punk perfection, as photography in mud. Some may seek to dodge the gobbet, for its quantity of quality, but who wants to cheat the choker's got to learn to chew the cud. All which whole scrubs on scroll, circumillennium illuminated, have enconiums here, and impropries there, with a pansy for the pussy in the corner. All the world's in want, and is writing a letters from a person to a place about a thing. And all the world's on wish to be carrying letters to a king about a treasure from a cat. When men want to write a letters, 10 men, ton men, pen men, pun men, want to rise a ladder. And den men, don men, fen men, fun men, hen men, hun men, when to raise a leader. Is then any letters day from many peoples, Dagon Asanovich? Empire your outermost, a posy chord, please. Come, smooth of my slate, to the beat of my blush, with all these gelded ewes jilting about, and the thrills and ills of laylock blossoms, 3 so much more plants than chance for Sicilies that I was thinking fairly killing times of putting an end to myself and my malady, when I remembered all your people teachers' erringnesses in perfection class. You shouldn't write, you can't, if you wouldn't pass for underdevelopmented. This is the proper way to say that, sir. If it's me, choose to swallow all you said, you can eat my words, for it is as sure as there's a key in my kiss. Quick, Arid, face you, facey. When we will conjugate together, tullos ether, tomaster, tomas, while tomorrow fans a mere hour, verba divi and verba tuvi, with love a loved, have I on my backspine, and does forever. Your heir, me severe? Then who? My intended junior, who I'm thrown away on? Here he inst my life stack, a new fallen lycon. When I slip through my petticoat, I'll go my degree, and my Sadens when I'm not ploughed first by some Roland o' the lasso, and fluent on the flimsy filmsies, for to grig my collage juniories, who, though they flush fuchsia, are they octet, and virginity in my shade, but always my figurants. They may be yea of my year, but they're nary nay of my day. Wait till spring has sprung in spickness, and prigs beg and a pry, that there'll be pretty prime of house pets to pimp and pamper my impending marriage. Nature tells everybody about but, and I learned all the runes of the gamest game ever from my old Norse Assa. A most adventuring trot is her, and she Viking well knows them all heartswise and forwards. How all a doily and Winnie Carr, big jumpers, they rise the dressing of a salmon dun, and how a peeper coster and a salt sailor met a mustied poet at Twayman. It must have been Mad Mullins planted him, Bena de Bissy and Tristerine Fon Terrafine, Sago Sound, Right Go Round, Kill Cackle, Cook Cackle, and remember, all should I forget to, Bolt the Thor, Auden. Wasn't it just divining that dog of a dag in Skolkholm as I sat astrada upon their druid's altar, as Culidas as Culcumbra, slapping my straits to the sloping ruins, postilion, a swage a swank with you offering me clouts of innocence, and them horners stragstruck on the leesward? Don't be afraid, you blanching mensch. This Isabella I'm on knows the rules of the road, and she don't fear any manny. So sing loud, sweet chariot, like any green in heaven. The good father with the twinklings of his eye will always have cakes in his pocket to betroth us with for all Michael good. And amum again, for though troth is stronger than fortuitous fiction, and it's the surplice money, oh my young friend, and me sweet creature, what buys the bed while wits burrows the clothes. And you could peep inside the cerebralized saucepan of this ill-winded good-for-nobody. You would see in his house of thoughtsome, was you, that is, decontaminated enough to look discarnate, what a jetsam literature of convolvuli of times lost or strayed, of lands derelict and of tongues lagging too, longa yams a yore, not only that, but search-lighting, beached, batched, and becushled a la mer, fed into futurity, your own convolvulus picnic and capman would really just fancy the novo taking place of what stale words Willem were woven with, and fitted fairly featly for so. Bide in your hush, do! The law does not allow you to shout. I plant my penstock in your postern, china pot. Ave, and let it be to our remembrance, vale, O vocation of maiding waters, for auld lang Salvi Stein, I defend you to champ my scullion's praises, to book alone belongs the lobe. Flood lift, her ancient of rights regaining, so yester-yed even remembrance. And greater grown then is the trifle of her days, a mouse, a mere tittle, trots off with the whole panorama picture. Her young free yoke, stilting his wander curses, jilt the spin of a curl and jolt the broth of a buoy. He's heard of hoarding, and her fates is altered. Becoming and going, their seeming sames, for though that limestone death do us part, there's a wintry top whipples the damp of the morning. But tell is it Alicif well as its end, and the longer it takes, the sooner they tumble to. He knows he's just thrilling, and she's sure she'd squeam. In the heliotropical nacht-time following a fade of transformed tough, and pending its vice aversion, a metallurgic reglow of beaming bat, the bared board bombardment screen, if tastefully taut geranium satin, tends to teleframe and step up to the charge of a light brigade. Down the photo slope, in syncopank pulses, with the bits bug-twug their tefts, the misled ropes glitter a glut, borne by the carnier valve. Spray gun rakes and splits them from a double focus. Grenadite, damnimite, alexstronite, nichelite. And the scanning fire spot of the scunners traverses the rhodolanced illustrated sunk-sundered lines. Schlosh! A gasped truce leaks out over the casein coatings. Amid a fluorescence of spectacular mephitism, there coagulates through the iconoscope, steadily still, the figure of a fellow chap in the woolly gast, Popey Adoniso, the gestionnaire of the Rosenates. The eidolon exhibices the seals of his orders, the star of the Son of Heaven, the girdle of Isabella the Carolitica, the cross of Michelides Apelagos, the lancet of Jan of Nepomuk, the puff-puff and pom-pom of Powder and Paul, the great belt, band and bucklings of the martyrology of German. It is for the Castomercy's mud-wake service, the victor, please to not noise speech above your dreads, please to doughboys. There's something's growing with the speech. He blanks his ogles because he confesses to all his telebacious nieces. He blocks his nosos because that he confesses to everywhere as he was always putting up his lastest fingers. He wallops his mouthers with a sword of Tuscan as because he confesses how often he uses be opening her, how one ton he used to be undering her. He boundless altogether his manuscripts with his pederasts in as much as because that he confesses before all his accomplishments and behind all his confederacies. And here his Kant came back, saying he couldn't steal no longer. Yes, his cats come back, he couldn't stay awake. He touched upon this tree of livings in the midst of the garden, for inasmuch as because that he confessed to it on hill and down Dalum, and in the places which the lepers inhabit, in the place of the stones, and in Ponto Fair, just faggodaring a morid now, he come to think of it jolly well rutted generously all ye Oliver, the old Buckley shop. Pugger old Pompey O'Donoshriff. There would be a hen collection of him after even sung on the field of Hanner. Dumbledown, Luties and Gegenstermen. Din, 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 din! The abnihilization of the atom by the grisning of the grosning of the grinder of the grunder of the first lord of Hurtleford expolo detonates through Parseralia, with an Ivan Mordant the rumble fragamborosity amid which his general uttermost confusions are perceivable monotons scaping with molecules while Coventry plumpkins fairly gosmother themselves in the land and unelegance of Pinkadintadilly. Similar scintas are projectilized from Hulululu, Bawalio, Imperial Rome, and modern atoms. They were precisely the 12s of clocks, noon minutes, non-seconds, at some seat of olden langs con Gerig by Donny break in era. For be all rules of sport 'tis right that youth bedowered to charm the night. Was ages dumped to mind the day when water parted from the sea, the humming it's coming, in sway on sway. Fly your balloons, Dannies and Dennises. He's doorknob's dead, and Nanny Dallop is free once more. We could aid you, par buckus, and imbabe through you, resurrenced in the wild lack of godliness. One fledge, one brood, till home comes everybody. Ho the throwman, ho the trader, ho the truth. Our sure he's the monarch of our land, over since he's hoard his name in thunder. He's seen it rumbling up for the fire fursons on the flash market. The way the wind wheeled the school around, when nobody wouldn't even let them rustin, from playing their gatstpeels, crossing their sleep by the shocking silence, when they were in dreams of yore, standing behind the door, or leaning out of the chair, or kneeling under the sofa cover and setting on the subterrene, getting into their ways something barbarous, changing the one wet underdown convibrational bed, or they used to slumber under when hope was there no more, and putting on their half a hat, and falling over all synopticals, and panegyric, and repeating themselves, like swallowing, like the time they were dodging the tally-cook that chased them. Look, look, all round the stool, walk everywhere for the jewel, to break fire to other answers, to collect all in bits of brown, the wraither's envelopment in spirits of time in all fathom of space, and slooping round in a bawneen and bat slippers, and go away to old Patrick and see a Dr. Walker. And after that, so glad they had their night's tentacles. And there they used to be, flapping and cycling, and a-doing and a-doing loop, panamantically around the wastes of the ships in the wake of their good old fun again, as tired as they were at the wind's width and the wave's length. I sort of binoculizes memostinust egotum subconsciously senses uppers the profundity of multi-mathematical immaterialities, where bejubers in the pan-cosmic urge the all immanence of that which itself is itself alone. Here, oh here, colour Aaron, exteriorizes on this or here and now plane in disunited solid, like word and gushious bodies with science, eh? Pearl white and passion panting, pugno-plagent intuitions of reunited selfdom, murky way, abstruadim. Matthew Hugh, Marky Hugh, Lukey Hugh, John Hugh, haw, and still a light moves along the river, and stiller the mermen ply their clegg. Its pith is full, the way is free, their lot is cast. So to John for John, John of James, let it be. Ah, in unlittliness 'twas in very similitude, bless me, 'twas his belted lamp, whom we dreamt was a shadow, sure. He's light-size, the laddo, blessed moments, oh romance, he's growing to stay. Ah, he who so swayed a will of a wisp before me, hand propped to hand, prompt side to the prose. Overture and beginners! When lo, whish, oh whish, me saw me streamed, as the green to the grew was flown, through depths of darkness, green grown deeper I heard a voice, the voice of Sean, vote of the Irish, voice from afar, and cert no puer palestrine ere chanted panangel mid the clouds of 2S Petrus, not Michelin Kelly, not Mario, and sure, what more numerous Italicus ever rossockt frisch nuve in urinal? A breeze to Everstone, o'er the brazos owing sea, from Ickengila call the way how it's upbired, more pork to scented nightlife, as softly as the lofty Marconi masts from Clifton saw open tireless secrets, mouth-port, to Nova Scotia's listening sister ones. Tube! Almost might I say of myself, while keeping out of crime, I am now becoming about fed up be going circulating about them new Hickler's highways like them nameless souls, irked and scorned and grizzled all over, till it's rusty October in this bleak forest, and was veritably complussed by thinking of the crater of some noted volcano, or the Dublin River, or the Cachalot Troll subsidy, as a way out, or to isolate I from my multiple me's on the spits of Lumbridge Island. He took a round stroll, and he took a stroll round, and he took a round stroll again, till the grillies in his head and the livenets in his hair made him thought he had a Tasmania. Had he twice cycled the seas of the Deed, and traversed their river-mare? Was he come to Hever with his angiles, or gone to Hull with the poop? The June snows was flocking in thuck flues on the hagelstones, millipedes of it, and myriapods, and the ugly, whistling tornadoes, the borabolia bears, bloha-blasting tegel huts up to teddies and rushing sleets off the copy houses, playing Ragnarok Rignarek with an irritant, penetrant, siphonopterous spoke. Gross opper, gross opper. He larved on he murred such a nauseous, the gracehopper feared he would misplace his fauces. I forgive you, grunt Ott, said the gracehopper, weeping, for their sooks of the sakes you are safe in whose keeping. Teach flow and loose polkas, show beanie where's sweet, and be sure the spatula finds fat ones to heat. As I once played the piper, I must now pay the count. So said it to my Hamlet, and marhaba to your mount. Let who likes lump above, so what flies be a full'n. I could not feel more groggy if this was a prompolin. I pick up your reproof, the hoarse gift of a friend, for the prize of your save is the price of my spend. Can cast horrors pallid of kiss if old Pollux forsake 'em, or Cullux feel etchy if Pollux don't wake 'em? A locust to low, a term it embarrass. These twain are the twins that take homo vulgaris. Has Aquilion north winged to go sif, since the Gwyffin we were in his forest woobriff? And that accident man not besieged where his story ends, since long-sparing sights sought heart-seat for their orients? We are waste not with want, precondemned, to and true, till Nolans go volants, and Brunei's come blue. Ere those gid flirts now gadding you quit your mocks for my gropes, an extents must impel, an elapse must elopes. Of my Tectus take stock, tig-tacked an ale's wheel, as I view by your firelook hail yourself to my heel. Partiprise my thin whins, while my blink points unbroken on, your holes whereac broads with toots tighty right token on. My invisible universe yowly hod find, such oxtra beforeness meet so veil behind. Your feats and enormous, your volumes immense, may the graces I hoped for sing your onship sung since. Your genus it's worldwide, your spaces sublime, but holy South Martin, why can't you beat time? My Trifolium Libretto, the orthodox book of Leaf, would, if given to daylight, I hold a most incredible fate about it, far exceed what that bogus bolshe of a shame, my Shoham brother Geo Effects is conversant with inaudible black and prink. Outragedy of poet scalds, a comedy of letters, I have them all, tame, deep, and harried, in my mind's eye. Well, how dire do we thee like hours when thy like fades? All's dull in yellow, and it is bedarned that thou art passing hence, my brooder, Abel Sean, with the twisking of the robe, ere the morning of light comes our hardest throes, beyond Cod's cradle and Porpoise plain, from carnal relations unfamiliar faces, to the inns of Tusclan where the olifants scrum, to the ousts of miracles where the told stories grow proudest. More is the pity. But for all your deeds of goodness, you are so oft and forever doing mone mano and milli ever to molly, as our humbler classes, whose virtue is humility, can tell. It is hardly we in the country of the old, Sean Moe, can part you for. Ole poi, you were the walking saint, you were too stared, the graced of gods and pitities in the solace of the wake. Countenance whose disparition afflictedly fond Fwyn feels. Winner of the gamings, primed at the students, pro-predicted from the story belts, the choice of ages wise, spokesman of our picturesque silentiousness. Musha, be minded of us out there in cockpit, poor 12 o'clock scholars, sometime or other, any when you think the time. We should be coming back to us way home in Biddy House, one way or either, anywhere, we miss your smile. Palm wine, breadfruit, sweet meat, milk soup, suasosopo. However, our people here in Samoanesia will not be after forgetting you, and the elders looking and marking the journeys, chalking up drizzle in, drizzle out on the 4 bare mats. How you would be thinking in your thoughts, how the deepings did it all begin, and how you would be scrimmaging through your scriptures to collar a hold of an imperfection being committed. Sireland calls you. Mary Loy is sailing moonlight, like slyly Mamernine's lady maid, at Gladdyhouse Lodge. Turn your coat, strong character, and tarry along us down the vale, you gander, only once more, and may the moss of prosperousness gather you rolling home. May foggy dews bediamondize your hoop rings. May the fire-plug of filiality reinsure your bunghole. May the barley wind behind glow luck to your bathershins. 'Tis well we know you were loth to leave us, winding your hobbledy-horn, right royal post, but, sure, pulse of our slumber dream-book page, by the grace of Notre Dame, when the natural morning of your nocturne blank merges into the national morning of golden sun-up, and Don Leary gets his own back from old gorgeous Quartos, as that good ship, the Johnny Joyce, takes the wind from waterlogged Erin's king. You will shift across the moilant sea and round up in your own escapology some canonizator's day or other, sack on back, alack, digging snow, not so, like the good man you are, with your picture pockets turned knockside out in the rake of the rain for fresh remittances. And from that till this, in any case, Timus tenant, May the tussocks grow quickly under your tramp thickets, and the daisies trip lightly over your batter crops. Unbeknownst to you would I return o'er sea, a nuncio would I return here. How, from the sublime to the ridiculous, times out of oft, my future shall we think with deepest of love and recollection by retrospection of thee, but me, far away on the pillow, breathing fondly o'er my names all through the empties, whilst moithered by the rattle of the double door knockers. Our Homer old poet to Osterlinde, Fred Witherley, puts it somewise better. You're sitting on me style, maybe, where oft I helped your oar. Little game roomily from little antibancum, tubly quim, but a big corner fill you do in this unadulterated seat of our affections. Airwingers my breed, so may we uncreepingly multipede like the sands on Amberhan. 7 heavens, oh heaven, I want you. Your ways to my little me were wonderful, so ickam purse proud in sending I'm loveliest fanciful thoughts, touching me dashing you through wee dots hyphen, the so pretty arched godkin of betting nights. If I've proved to your satisfaction how I'm a man of armour, let me so, let me sue, let me see your Isabellis. How I shall, should I survive as please the uniter of you and my hearts, I am living in hopes to do, replacing me wandering hands up in yours so eager for Mitch, positively cover the 2 pure chicks of your comely plump cake, with sucker kissings, Hong Kong and so gong, that I'd scare the bats out of the ivory one of those puggy mornings, honestly, by my ratting dog and daddy oak I will. Coming when upon the mingling of our meeting waters, wish to wisher, like massive mountains to part no more, you will there and then, in those happy moments of our for soft accord, rain kiss on me back for full marks with shouldered arms. And in that united ire you stayed, when I come, tough, wild flyers fox, into my own green grease again, sweep sweet and smugs, 6 of one for half a dozen of the other, till they'll bet we're the cuckoo derby when cherries next come back to Ealing, as come they must, as they musted in their past, as they must for my pressing season, as hereinafter must they cheery will immediately swant on my safe return to ignorance and bliss, and my horseless couple poor, through Swearland and Orland, kings, country, and queens, with my ropes of pearls for gamey girls the way you'll hardly know me. And the lark that I let fly, oh la la, is as cock-full of fanatics as it's tuned to my fork. Naturally you might lower register me as disrecordant, but I'm at home in your little billings of Killarneys. That's flat. Yet where the world, you? What's good for the gorse is good for the garden. Lethals lurk Heimlongton Logans, loathe laburnums, dash the gaudy death cup, Byrony, O Byrony, thy name is Belladama. And let ye not be getting grief out of it, though blighted troth be all bereft, on my poor head's sake, even should we forfeit our life. Lo, improving ages wait ye, in the orchard of the bones. Some time very presently now, when yon clouds are dissipated after their 40 years' shower, the odds are we shall all be hooked and happy, communionistically, upon the field nigh its Elysium, elite of the elect, in the land of lost of time. Johannesburg's a revelation, deck the diamonds that never die. So cut out the lonesome stuff, drink it up, ladies, please, as smart as ye can. There is something more. A word, a parting, and shall the heart's tone be silent. Engagements, I'll beseech you. Fare thee well, fare ye well. All I can tell you is this, my sorlies. It's prayers and layers, all the thumping time, begor. The young glorious gang voices the old doxologers in the suburbs of the heavenly gardens. Once we shall have passed, after surceases, all serene through neck and neck like Derby, and June to our snug eternal retribution's reward, the scorch house. Chaunt us, chaunt us, chaunt us. If you want to be Felix, come and be parked. Sacred ease there, the Senate and Pobble Q's reminder. To it, seek it, head cup. No petty family squabbles up there, nor homemade hurricanes in our courtyard. No cupperling, nor apocalypse, nor no punchin' yodeling, nor no nothing. With the bairns, which is far better, and ye for ever your idol be. To borrow, and to borrow, and to borrow. That's our cross, harry, and ever grim life, till one final howdy-dow bouncer naster rapes on the bell with a bone, and his stinkers stank behind him with the sceptre and the hourglass. We may come touch and go from atoms and ifs, but we are presently destined to be odds without ends. Here we moult in Moy Cane, and flop on the seamy side, living sure and hardly a doorstep for a stopgap, with who goes there, and a live sandbag round the corner. But up me and prospector, you sprout all you're able, and woof your wings dead certain, however of night hung, whatever to a for ever, well high-em's in the chair. Ah, sure, pleasantries aside, in the tale of the cow, what a humpty dumb earth looks our misery me here today, as compared beside the here we are again gaieties of the afterpiece, when the royal revolver of these real goblotos lets really fire of his mio colpo for the crissyman's pandemon to give over, and the harlequinade to begin properly squeaking, mark time's finished joke, putting all space in a knots all. And I'll be there when who knows where with the objects of which I'll know for forget. We say, trust us, our game, for fun. The dargle shall run dry the sooner I you deny. Who ever heard of such a think? Till the almost of all Elmos shall steal our hearts a stone, and Miss Amara makes it up and befriends with Miss Amorum. I will write down all your names in my gold pen and ink. Every day precious, when memory leaves are falling deeply on my Jungfrau's message book. I will dream telepath posts dulcets on this isinglass stream, but don't tell him, or I'll be the mort of him, under the Libans and the sycamores, the cypresses and the Babylonias, where the frond oak russes to the ask, and the yew leaves too kiss themselves, and will carry on my heart's waves, my still waters reflections, in words over Margaret von Hungaria. Her quaity ways and her flaven hair to thee, Jack, ahoy, beyond the boy's forest. Splesh of hish, splash, springs your salmon. Twick, twick, twinkle twings my twilight at Saturday afternoon. Lex sleep will smile on my forehennanced 12 months' mind. Daughters of the heavens, be lucks in turnabouts to the wandering sons of red loam. The earth's a trot, the sun's a scream, the air's a jig, the water's great. 7 oldly hills and the one blue beamer. I'm going, I know I am, I would bet I am. Somewhere I must get far away from Banba shore, wherever I am. No saddle, no staffet, but spur on the moment. So I think I'll take Freeboots' advice. Psk! I'll borrow a path to lend me wings, quick-quack, and from Jerusalem's wall, click-clack, me coursers clear, to Cherub Street I'll travel the void world over. It's Winland for mine, big buck. Gee jaggers, I hurt myself netly that time. Come, my good frog-marchers. We felt the fall, but we'll front the defile. Was not my Otley mother, cetera matissa, a running water? And the bold one that quickened her the sea-born Fingale? I feel that hill of a whaler went yawling round Groenmund's circus, with his tree full of seaweeds, and Dinky Doll asleep in her shell. Numerous are those who, nay, there are a dozen of folks still unclaimed by the death angel in this country of ours today, humble indivisibles in this grand continuum, overlorded by fate and interlarded with accidents, who, while there are hours and days, will fervently pray to the Spirit above that they may never depart this earth of theirs, till in his long run from that place where the day begins, ere his returnees post-exilic, on that day that belongs to joyful Ireland, that people that is of all time, the oldest, the youngest, long-suffering and decennia of brief glory, to mind us of what was when, and to matter us of the withering of our ways. Their Januar, Februar winds true from Sylvester. Only Walker himself is like Walter. Whimsalissimiso, they go marmorand. Comes marching home on the summer crust of the flagway. Life, it is true, will be a blank without you, because Avicum's not there at all. To no more cares for nomad knows. Ere Molochi wars bring the devil era, a slip of the time between a date and a ghost mark. rived by Derby's chilly-day's embers, spatched fun yon that dawn day forth, from the night we are and feel and fade, with to the yester selves we tread to turn upon. But boy, did your strong 9 furlong mile in slick and slapstick record time, and a far-fetched deed it was in troth, champion docile, with your high bouncing gait of going, and your feet of passage will be contested with you and through you for centuries to come. The phoenix rose a sun before Erebus sank his smother. Shoot up on that bright Bennu bird, va fotre, eftsoon so too will our own Sphenix spark spurt his spire and sunward stride the rampant flame. Aye, already the sombre opacities of the gloom are spanished. Brave footsore horn, work your progress, hold to now, win out ye devil ye, the silent cock shall crow at last, the west shall shake the east awake. Walk while ye have the night for morn, like breakfast bringer, morroweth whereon every past shall full fost asleep. Amen. Lowly, longly, a wail went forth. Pure yawn lay low. On the mead of a hillock lay, heart soul dormant mid shadowed landscape. Brief wallet to his side and arm loose by his staff of citron briar, tradition's stick pass on. His dream monologue was over, of course, but his drama parapolylogic had yet to be a fact. Most distressfully, but my dear how successfully, to wail he did, his locks of a look and tinge, quick rich, ripely rippling, unfilleted those lash-betasseled lids on the verge of closing time, whiles out of his sidewise open mouth, the breath of him, even so languishing as the princeliest treble treacle, or leaky choo-choo purse goodbye, yawn in a semi-swoon lay a-wailing, and whew, that helpings of honeyful swoothead, whew, which ear-piercing dulcitude. As were you supposed to go and push with your blunt blank pin in hand up into his flesh-a-plush cushionettes of some chubby boy-bold love of an angel. Whoa! Dream, on a non-day I sleep. I dreamt of a some-day, of a one day I shall wake. Ah, may he have now of here, fear filled me. Sin flowed, oh, sin flowed. Fear, befurcht Christ. I have your treatise now. It recurs in 3 times the same, differently. There is such a fooey story which obtains of him. Coming down from the asphalt to the concrete, from the human historic brute, Finnison, Fenyon, Oceany Clive to this same vulganized hill's ear of yours, Mr. Tupling tone of mourning the heights, with his lavest flow and his ramblings undergroans. He is cured by faith who is sick of fate. The brutes who will invent a writing there ultimately is the poeta, still more learned, who discovered the rating there originally. That's the point of eschatology our book of kills reaches. For now, in so-and-so, many counterpoint words. What can't be coded can be decoded, if an ear eye says what no eye e'er grieved for. Now the doctrine obtains. We have occasioning cause, causing effects, and effects occasionally recausing ultra effects. Or I will let me take it upon myself to suggest to twist the penman's tale posterwise. Fantasy on fantasy, amnes fantasies. And there is nihil nuder under the clothing moon. And leap, rink, and make folly till the gaoler's gall. Awake, come awake, every old skin in the leather world, infect the whole stock company of the old house of the leaking barrel, was Thomistically drunk, 2 by 2, larking a toolers with tumblers of beggars. I should like to euphanize that. It sounds an isochronism, secret speech, Hazelton, and obviously disemboweled. But it is good lay law, too. We may take those well-meant kicks for free granted, though ultra vires, void, and in fact unnecessarily so. Happily you were not quite so successful in the process verbal, whereby you would sublimate your blepharospasmodical suppressions, it seems. Have you ever reflected, Webotel, that the evil that was it was willed might nevertheless weed somehow on to good toward the generality? Apropos of hasto meets wasto, and talking of plebiscites by a show of hands, Whether declaratory or effective, in all seriousness, has it become to dawn in you yet that the deponent, the man of St. Eves, may have been, one is reluctant to use the passive voice, may have been as much sin against as sinning? For if we look at it verbally, perhaps, there is no true noun in active nature, where every body being, please read this, Mufto, is becoming in its own town eyeballs, now the long form, and the strong form, and reform altogether. I asked you, dear lady, to judge on my tree by our fruits. I gave you of the tree. I gave 2 smells, 3 eats. Me friendies, my celebrary mates, my happy bosoms, my all-falling fruits of my boom. Pity poor Haveth childers everywhere with mother. By my virtues of creation, and by boon of promise, by my natural born free man's journeyman right, and my other church's inner light, in so and such a manner as me it so besetteth, most surely I pretend and reclame, to opt for simultaneous. Till day bow break, and shadows flee, thus be heck, verily, verily, time, place. Ciao, camarade, evangel of good tidings, omniscient as the hailer's word for the lost, loathsome, and whomsoever will, who, in regimentation, through liberal donation and coordination for organization of their installation and augmentation, plus some annexation and amplification, without precipitation, towards the culmination and latification of what was formerly their utter privation, competence, cheerfulness, usefulness, and the mead shall, in their second Adams, all be made alive. Mark 1 atonement when, with sea so silent, Claudia Audilochus, good and dewed up, shall let fall, yes, no, yet now, a rain. Muxius grapsius, it is how sweet from her, the wispful, and they are soon seen swap sib so sautral as a mesa. It's ist not the tear on this movement sped. These brilling wavely plights, please say me how sing you them. Seek him, seek him. They arise from a clear spring well in the near of our park, which makes the daft to hear all blend. This place of endearment, how it is clear, and how they cast their spells upon the fronds that there upfloat, the book-staff branching, the druggeted stems, the leaves incut on trees. Big Mr. Finnegan, with Phoenicia Parks, lame of his ear and gape of his leg, most correctingly, we beseech of you, down their ladder case of night-watch service, and bring them at sun-time flush with the nethermost gangrung of their stepchildren, guide them through the labyrinth of their Samilikes and the altar-goesses of their pseudo-selves, hedge them both ways, from all roamers whose names are Ligius, from loss of bearings deliver them. Curious dreamers, curious dramas, curious daemon, plagius daemon, plagius dearest, plagiest durest, for the Strangford planters are protesting, and the Carcary felons dry flooring it, and the Leperty's laddos railing the way, blump for slow go slay. Gives there not two amongst us after all events, or so grunts a leading hebdromedary, some together hush, of still and butyl you know that, in so far forth as all up and down the whole concreation say, efficient first gets there finally every time, as a complex matter of pure form, for these excess and that pass fault, hard hearingness from their eldfire, in grips and rumblions, through fresh taint and old treason. Another like that altar, but not quite such anander, and still but one, not all the self-same, and but still one just the mame, and encore emmer him may always, with little difference, till the latest up to date, so early in his morning, have everless been all made amenable. We have to have them, whether we'll like it or not. They'll have to have us now we're here on their spot. Scant hope theirs or ours to escape life's high carnage of semper identity by subsisting piecemeal upon variables. Bloody certainty have we got to see it, ere smellful demise suspends on us this concrete that down the gullies of the areas we catch ourselves looking forward to what will in no time be staring you larrikins on the post-face and that multimerior megaron in the returning teas, whirled without end to end. Come all ye goat-fathers and grown-mothers, come all ye mark-makers and pile-drivers, come all ye labour-saving devisers and Charlie-Green dividends, fire-finders, water-workers, deeply condeal with them. all that is still life with death in ye born, all verbum saps, yet bound to be, to do and to suffer, every creature everywhere, if you please, kindly feel for her, while the dappled grey dawn drags nearing nigh, for to wake all droners that drowse in Dublin. Calling all downs to Dane, array, surrection, ere weaker to the whole blood-in world, oh rally, planks the rally, to what life like thine of the bird can be, seek you so many matters, hey sea east to Oceania, here, tas, pat, staff, waff, half bluff in rutter, the smog is lufting, and already the alderman's alderman has gotten up on other times to litinate the bonamores. Son fain avant, gold munding, have yous fused peers albe? Then years ago we have used yours up since, when we have fused now orther. Calling all Danes to dawn, the old breeding Bradstead Colmwith of natures to foin McCulligan. The leader, securis jubilans albus timorum, cloggin sloggin, quakum dim dusky, wook dumb for husky, and let Billy Fagin be ballad out of his humiliation. Confidential to churchin, we have highest gratifications in announcing to the pewter public most of patrician prate users, Genghis is gone for you. The entireties of lives living being the one substance of a stream's becoming. Total in told-telled, and tell-told in tittle-tale tattle. Why? Because Christ be gad in all giddy gadgets, in whose words were the beginnings. There are two signs to turn to, the yist and the ist. The right side and the wrong side, feeling a slip and walking up, so on and so forth. Why? Look, a shaft of chivalry in the act, and Alicenten. Cold sluth, Fayons, where did that come from? It is infinitesimally fevers, resty fever, rizzy fever, a coranto of aria, sleeper awakening, in the smalls of one's back presentiment, gip, and again gape, a flash of a future, of maybe malleability through the winder of a wonder, in the wilders a welter, as a whirlpool of a warble is a world. Where, cumulo balocuras hombinaband, heaven electing, the dart of desire has gored the heart of secret waters, and the poplarest wood in the entire district is being grown at present, eminently adapted for the requirements of panic-stricken humanity. And between all the goings up, and the whole of the comings down, and the fog of the cloud in which we toil, and the cloud of the fog under which we labour, bomb the things to be bomb about, so that, beyond indicating the locality, it is felt that one cannot with advantage add a very great deal to the aforegoing by what, such as it is to be, follows, just mentioning, however, that the old man of the sea and the old woman in the sky, if they don't say nothings about it, they don't tell us lie. The gist of the pantomime, from Cannibal King to the property horse, being slumply and slopely, to remind us how, in this dreary world of ours, father times and mother spaces boil their kettle with their crutch, which every lad and lass in the lane knows, hence. Whether they were Franklins by name also has not been fully probed. Their design is a who-sold word, and their charming details of light and dark are freshened from the familiarity which breathes content. Oh, Ferrix coupla, a fairy pair. Day a greening gains a schlimmingling, a summer wind spring falls abated. Hail, rain of darkness, snowily receding, thorned lightning thorned into the dim below-starred departmentary wither out, soon hissed, soon missed, to the haut hill from the hollow. When the messenger of the risen sun, see other Oriel, shall give to every seeable a hue, and to every hearable a cry, and to each spectacle his spot, and to each happening her horum, the while we are waiting for him. 'Tis gone in for over, so for now, Dalish, poor day, to transfixure of his home, feist of tabernacles, Scanapega come, Shamwork be in our shining, and let every Chris couple be so cross-complementary, little Egons, yolk and milk, and a fire bigger of Pancosmos, with a haughty hamium all round, God's truce! Yet is no body present here which was not there before, only is order othered, naught is old, fuit fiat. Begin to forget it. It will remember itself from every side, with all gestures in each our word. Today's truth, tomorrow's trend. Forget. Remember, have we cherished expectations? Are we for liberty of perceivedness? Why after? What for where? A plain lithiasim assemblements, ablanes conglorid horde. By dim delti diva, forget. Soft morning city, lisp, I'm leafy speaking, lip. Faulty and faulty, all the nights have falled on't along my hair. Not a sound falling, lisping. No wind, no word, only a leaf, just a leaf and then leaves. The woods are fond always, as were we their babes in, and Robinson Crusoe, it is for me golden wending. Unless, away, rise up, man of the hoods, you have slept so long, or is it only so, meseems? On your pondered palm, recline from cape to pade, with pipe on bowl, terce for a fiddler, sixth for make-merrers, none for a coal. Rise up now, and aruse, nor Vena's over. The rocky road a-dundering. We can sit us down on the heathery bend, me on you, in calm unconscience, to scan the arising, out from Drumleek. It was there Evora told me I had best, if I ever. When the moon of morning is set and gone, over Glenadonna, Lunanulla, ourselves, our souls alone. At the side of Salve Ocean, and watch what the letter you're wanting becoming may be, and cast ashore, that I praise for me mains of me dreams, scratching it and patching at it, a prompt from a primer. And what scrapes of notsolodges I pecked up me myself. Every letter is a hard, but yours sure is the hardest crux ever. Hackanax, hookanox, hathanan, hethithensis, but once done, dealt and delivered, tatad, you're on the map. When the waves give up, yours the soil may for me. Sometime then, somewhere there, I wrote me hopes and buried the page when I heard thy voice, ruddery Dunner, so loud that none but, and left it to lie till the Christmas coming. So content me now. This. On build, and be buildin' I'll bank a Logan cottage there, and we'll cohabit respectable. The goin's sair for me them me, with a cute booble rung tour for the pip-up and go-peep where the stairs be. Just to see would we hear how Jove and the peers talk, amid the solness, till top, big master, scale the summit, you're not so giddy any more. All your ground plotting and the little it brought, humps when ye hized us and dumps, when ye doused us. But Sarah one of me cares a brambling ran, pomp porteriarch. On limpety marriage I've made me home, park and a pub for me. Only don't start your stunts of Donnacha's years ago again. I could guess up to her name who talked to that one, tough nut. Bold bet backwards for the love of Sinfintins before the naked universe. But you're changing, Akushla, you're changing from me, I could feel. Or is it me is? I'm getting mixed. Brightening up and tightening down, yes, you're changing, son husband, and you're turning. I can feel you for a daughter-wife from the hills again, Lamaya. And she is coming, swimming in my hindmost, divil talking on me tail. Just a whisk, brisk, sly, spry, spink, spank, sprint of a thing there somewhere, saltering. Saltarella come to her own. I pity your old self I was used to. Now a younger's there. Try not to part. Be happy, dear ones. May I be wrong. For she'll be sweet for you as I was sweet when I came down out of me mother. A great blue bedroom, the air so quiet, scarce a cloud. In peace and silence. I could have stayed up there for always only. It's something fails us. First we feel, then we fall, and let her rain now if she likes, gently or strongly as she likes. Anyway, let her rain, for my time is come. I done me best when I was let, thinking always if I go, all goes. 100 cares, the tithe of troubles, and is there one who understands me? 1 in 1,000 of years of the nights? All me life I have been lived among them, but they're becoming loath to me, and I'm loathing their little warm tricks, and loathing their mean, cozy turns. And all the greedy gushes out through their small souls, and all the lazy leaks down over their brash bodies. How small it's all! And me letting on to myself always, and lilting on all the time. You're only a bumpkin. I thought you were the great in all things, in guilt and in glory, but you're a puny. Home, my people were not their sword out beyond there so far as I can. For all the bold and bad and bleary they are blamed, the sea hangs. No, nor for all our wild dances and all their wild din. I can see myself among them, Alaniovia Pertrabed. How she was handsome, the wild Amazia, when she would seize to my other breast. And what is she weird, haughty Naluna, that she will snatch from me unmost hair? For 'tis they are the stormies. Ho hang, hang ho, and the clash of our cries till we spring to be free. Our voles, they say, never heed of your name. But I'm loathing them that's here, and all I loathe. Lonely in me loneness, for all their faults I'm passing out. Oh, bitter ending! I'll slip away before they're up. They'll never see, nor know, nor miss me. And it's old and old, it's sad and old, it's sad and weary. I go back to you, my cold father, my cold, mad father, my cold, mad, fiery father, to the near sight of the mere size of him, the miles and miles of it, moaning, owning, makes me see salt sick, and I rush me only into your arms. I see them rising. Save me from those terrible prongs. 2 more, 1, 2 more, men's more. So, Abelavon, my leaves have drifted from me. All but one clings still. I'll bear it on me to remind me of Lif. So soft this morning hours, yes. Carry me along, Taddy, like you done through the toy fair. If I seen him bearing down on me now under widespread wings, like he'd come from archangels, I think I'd die down over his feet, humbly, dumbly, only to wash up. Yes, Tid, there's where. First we pass through grass behush the bush to whish, a gull gulls, far calls, coming far end here. Us then, Finn again, take, besoft thee, remember me, till thousands thee, lips, the keys to given, away, alone, alas, aloved, alone.